What's up, magic makers? Drew here, and today I am talking about witches' ladders. Now, I'm not going to go in depth into what witches' ladders are or their history because I have my own opinions about it. I will link a video from, I think she pronounces her name Tylluan Penry. And she has a great video on witches' ladders. I can see how there might be some debate on whether they are an authentic thing. It seems to me that they are a modern invention, taken from muggles, if you will, misunderstanding of what they found. But I still think it's really cool. So I'm just going to go through my process and show you how I make witches' ladders and how I use them. I'm not going to actually make one on camera today. I'm just going to show you the two that I already have. Now, your quote-unquote traditional, which again is something that could be argued, witch's ladder is going to have feathers in it. Mine don't have any real feathers in them. This is one of my witch's ladders. Now, I like to have an anchor. This is what I call it. It's a starting point from which I start my ladder. It's also how I hang my ladder because I hang them on the walls. I choose the charms that I use, as well as usually the twine, rope, whatever I use to create the string, to create the actual ladder based on what it is the ladder's purpose is, basically. And that also, I mean, everything on here is, to me, in alignment with what the ladder is for. So this one is for protection. It hangs by my back door. I started with a bone. It's like a chicken bone kind of deal, but then I have like a hematite bead, and I just braided a normal braid. I did not have enough black twine to make the whole thing black because that was my intention, but I actually liked the way it turned out multicolored better, so I'm glad I didn't. There is a feather. It's a feather charm though. There's two of them and a little bear paw with a turquoise, although it may not be real turquoise. That was an earring. I have a piece of quartz. This is an ankle bracelet that was from my dear soul sister who named me She Who Walks Between the Worlds. And it's got bells, and I like bells. See, I don't care if I don't have bird feathers in my witches' ladders. For me, bells are important because, well, I'll get to that in a minute. Then I have an evil eye charm that I made. This is an eagle because that is my spirit animal. And a piece of tourmalated quartz, a black cat, and I think it's flint maybe, but it's an arrowhead. So all of these things, for one reason or another, have protective properties, at least in my mind. And with mine, like I said, I like to have this anchor at the top. I also like to have an anchor at the bottom, something heavy, kind of to weigh it down and to anchor the energy into the ladder. And my personal process with this, the way I do this, I do a regular three strand braid like you would somebody's hair. And I will usually hold the anchor between my knees. And as I'm braiding, I am putting my intention, I am speaking, even in incantation form sometimes, my intention into the ladder. So whatever it is, you know, I want protection for my home, my family, blah, 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 whatever it is, and then add a charm and continue down. So the entire time I am braiding the ladder, I am putting my intention into it. So for me, protective energy is running all through this. And like I said, this hangs by my back door. And if there's a time where I'm feeling it needs to be recharged, or I'm feeling vulnerable for some reason, that doesn't happen often, but occasionally we have family that has come into the house and made us uncomfortable and for one reason or another, felt attacked for our beliefs, basically. But they don't come in our house anymore. At any rate, I will run my hands down as it hangs on the wall. And then to me, the bells are calling. They're calling the protection in. And I'm activating this witch's ladder. This is how I work with witch's ladders. This is not any sort of traditional way, but again, technically what is traditional with regards to a witch's ladder could be argued because, again, watch the video that I link and you'll understand why I feel that way. This is my other witch's ladder. And I chose, of course, a green twine because this one is for prosperity and it's actually tied to my business, Creations from the Hollow. So my anchor, my starting point for this one is a cinnamon stick. And I think that should be obvious to most of you why that is. But again, a nice way to hang it. And I'll show you how I hang them, what they look like hanging when we're done. Here, again, another feather, but not a real one, a metal one. And just a nod to what is considered traditional when it comes to witches' ladders. Bells, I have a bell because again, when I run my hand down here, I want to be calling in that prosperity, especially with regards to my shop. Then I have a 50 yen piece. I grew up in Japan and it's money, so you know. There's a tree here, tree of life sort of deal. To me, it denotes growth and just anything that, you know, fertility, all the things you tie to nature, Mother Nature. This is a tonka bean I drilled a hole in and put on because to me, the number one thing that I put into any prosperity working is tonka bean. I have a piece of green tourmaline, a green crystal. This is actually a dollar bill in a cage. It was my grandmother's. It hung on her charm bracelet forever, and obviously more money for prosperity. And this is a lodestone, so drawing money, and that is my anchor. I did leave like a lot of extra string, but this is the anchor point. So again, it hangs, and this one hangs in my studio by the door. And when I want to call prosperity in, you know, just once in a while when I'm walking out of the studio, I grab it and run my hand down it to activate it. I cannot say it enough. This is my own personal way that I work with witches' ladders. It's not necessarily the way you're going to read about online or in books, but I really do recommend that you watch that video by Tylluan Penry. I don't know how to pronounce her name because well, I suggest you watch many of her videos because she's wonderful. She's very intelligent, thoughtful woman, witch. And so she comes at topics from a rational historical point of view as well as a magical point of view. And she's just she's a treasure in our community. So if you've never watched any of her videos, please do. But in particular, I recommend you watch this one. So now I'll go ahead and show you what they look like hanging up where they are. I know this is a really short video, but so here's where it hangs. I have this candle holder that hangs on the wall, and you can see the cinnamon stick right there hangs up in there. And then you can see my Yoda my son gave me when he was little. And you can see the runes drawn in magic chalk behind it. But so it hangs right by the doorway. And occasionally on my way out, I just grab it and run my hand down it to activate it. Here's the one by the back door. Sorry, the lighting is not the greatest because it is by a sliding glass door. You can see my little witch's ball and our pentacle also for protection. I just have a little hook that the bone hangs on. And then, you know, again, it just hangs down. And when I need to, I grab a hold of it and activate it. All right, guys, it's kind of a short video, but as always, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, much love and gratitude.